Our last speaker is Mahmoud Nasser. He's a French-Egyptian student, or evidently just graduated a week or two ago, student and Rab'a witness.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for coming out today to listen to our various speeches throughout the day. As was said, my name is Mahmoud Nasser. I'm a recent graduate with a master's in engineering. And I myself have no political affiliation with any political party, much as the speakers who have spoken today, or any, especially the Muslim Brotherhood. Today, as the previous panelists have spoken already, I'd like to talk to you about the crackdown that's the oppression and the crackdown given by the military regime, by the coup regime on students, and in particularly a university called Al-Azhar University. So in this specific university, students are known on a weekly basis to carry out protests, denouncing the military coup, denouncing the coup regime, and not only that, but denouncing the killings and the brutal massacres that are happening and that have happened in the past in Egypt. And as a result, as was spoken already today, the coup regime does nothing but attack these students, killing some of these students from point-blank range, arresting them, sentencing them to death, or even some other examples that some of these students are no longer allowed back to their classes, they cannot take their exams, they're either suspended from the university or expelled from the university altogether. I mean, can we just take one moment and imagine, as was said by Nahla, if something of that sort would happen, for example, to the University of Bridgeport. Imagine if two people are having a political debate between one another, and all of a sudden both or one of them is arrested because they said something that did not please the government. This is exactly what's happening in Egypt today. Basic human rights such as freedom of speech and freedom of opinion are really non-existent. You can't even have a political debate between another person lest somebody arrests you on the spot. You're not even allowed to utter a single word about the regime. Anything negative in any sense would get you arrested. And some of these things don't only happen to university students. There was also a case of a middle school student, bear with me, the middle school student who had the Rab'a logo, which is the four fingers that you see around you, a sticker on his ruler. And he was arrested from the school, and who was the one that called the police on him? It was none other than the principal of the school. Just to show you the extent that the people who are helping the regime go to, that the principal of the actual school called the police to arrest the middle school kid. Now this is a middle school kid, so an early teens, if not 12 or 11 years old. Again, these are just some stories of what students have to go through every day in Egypt. We've heard many stories such as Omar in the previous panel, or Abdullah in this one. But to give you a sense of what's happening every day, this is what's happening. And so just before I conclude, I'd also like to say just a quick word in Arabic to show, I believe this is being broadcasted on Al Jazeera, so I just want to show the people in Egypt that we're giving our solidarity and our complete support behind what they're doing, because they're really protesting every single day, knowing very well that a harsh punishment awaits them. And regardless, they are still protesting because they believe in their freedom. So just a quick word in Arabic, if you don't mind. أيها الطلاب في مصر، أنتوا بتسطروا التاريخ، ومش لمصر بس لكل دول العالم، ومش للجيل ده بس لكل الأجيال القادمة. أنتوا بتوروا العالم إزاي تحاربوا وتدافعوا عن حقكم بسلميتكم اللي هي أقوى من الرصاص وأقوى من الرصاص بتاع الانقلاب. وجزاكم الله كل خير. So just as a quick conclusion, once again, we cannot even begin to think, to imagine if these sort of things would happen in our countries. As French Egyptian, I have the liberty of experiencing democracy in my country, and I can't imagine if something not only would happen to me once or twice, but on a daily basis where I'm not allowed to express my political views or any views for that matter. And this is why we will not stop fighting against this military coup and against this coup regime until all those responsible are brought to justice, and until this military coup and the coup regime fall, which I'm sure, and I hope many of you do, will as well. Thank you.
So that concludes this panel. We are going to do a so join me in thanking the panelists once again.